Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us on this beautiful Boxing Day. It's a Friday, it's a Boxing Day, it's a day after Christmas, and so we're still in that Yuletide season. Compliment of the season to everybody. Should I say Merry Christmas or belated Merry Christmas? It's still the season, so Merry Christmas to everyone. I see some people in the comment section saying hello, good afternoon. Mr. Lawale Oyinka, thank you very much. Merry Christmas to you, Ades. Merry Christmas, Nzogo. Merry Christmas, everyone. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you for getting us 4.1k likes on TikTok. But please don't stop our tapping. Let's keep liking and sharing the live. If you're on TikTok, please click on the heart icon above my head, just right here, and join the team. If you're a member of the team already, please drop a heart me, drop a gift. All these things help the algorithm to push our live to the FYP. So let's do it together. All right, let's try and push the live together. All right, so let's like, let's share, let's gift. And if you're on YouTube, please like the live and also share. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, kindly like and share so the algorithm can recommend the live stream to others. Thank you very much for being here today. I'm sure we're gonna have a great time together. Oloy of South London, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. Good to see everybody. How was the rice and chicken? Ah, boy. Hope everybody had a great time, Shao. You are still having a great time because it is the season. Man, it's a lovely, lovely day. Just a second. It was top notch. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. That's lovely. There's somebody trying to come up. Nzogu. Oh, don't worry, you'll come up. You'll come up. I'll just read the news and maybe I'll even bring you up today before we get into the topic. Oh, God is good. God is good. Bàbá tí ìyá kú ọdún o, ọdún àyàbò fún wa o, àṣẹ ìṣàmọ̀dún o, àṣàmọ̀dún ṣẹ̀mí, ànígbọ́lá burú síra wa o, ìwọ́kọ́ ní wo ní rúkọ ọmọ jáde àní rúkọ aya rúkọ ọkọ kiri o. You know, sometimes it's actually quite nice when you pray in Yoruba language. It rolls off your tongue differently. Àṣẹ ìṣàmọ̀dún àṣàmọ̀dún ṣẹ̀mí. Tachima solo in Bonsin, you. But may God bless everyone. May God bless you, and may 2026 be a better year. By the way, 2025 is not over yet. This is the 26th day, so still about 5 days to the end of this year. And may the rest of the year be the best of the year for you. May the last few days be the best days of 2025. And Ọlọ́run ayọ̀ ní ká kó alẹ́ nu, Ọlọ́run fún wa ní ẹ̀bùn ọdún tó máa jẹ́ kí inú wa dùn káyọ̀ wa kún lágbára Ọlọ́run. All right, thank you very much for being here. We're going to get to bringing people up very soon. It shouldn't take so long. Let me not say it won't, because things might change. But we'll bring people up very soon. You are the one that we praise. You are the one we adore. You give a healing and grace. Our hearts always hunger for. Always hunger. And I just remember that song, Women of Faith. You are the one. Mo wá news ni o, mo kàn fún yín lórin kẹ́ máa gbọ́ mo ṣe ń wá mo ṣe ń ṣí ìwé ìròyìn. Kemafi. Oh boy. You are the one that we praise. You are the one we adore. You give the healing and grace our hearts always hunger for. Oh, hearts always hunger for. Beautiful. We'll start with America. America. It was Trump who, broadcast this news yesterday, and I was like, get on Shelley. Trump was telling everybody, something had happened in Nigeria, and I mean, I saw it on X, right? And then I had to go look for it, and I saw the message, very powerful, I should say, um, and then found my way to his page, and then this is what the President of America said. The President of the United States, because I noticed that some people from the American continent don't like calling Trump President of America, so let's respect them. The President of the United States of America says, tonight, that's yesterday night, tonight at my direction as Commander-in-Chief, the United States launched a powerful and deadly strike against ISIS terrorist scum in northwest Nigeria, who have been targeting and viciously killing primarily innocent Christians at levels not seen for many years and even centuries. I have previously warned these terrorists that if they did not stop the slaughtering of Christians, there will be hell to pay, and tonight there was. The Department of War executed numerous perfect strikes, as only the United States is capable of doing. Under my leadership, our country will not allow radical Islamic terrorism to prosper. May God bless our military, and Merry Christmas to all, including the dead terrorists, of which there will be many more if the slaughter of Christians continues. Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America. Quite nice. It's quite nice. However, reading it the way we just did, people start asking, was it something that the American president just unilaterally decided to do? The American government and army just, bombarded or invaded the country, the way people have been, throwing the rhetoric around for a bit. However, it's not exactly the way the president of the United States of America puts it. So Donald Trump said what he said, but it didn't exactly go down that way. It wasn't like he just decided to fight to fight Nigeria and just get into Nigeria and, like he said, guns are blazing. What happened is actually a bit more nuanced than that. And you see that, for instance, in the communique put out by the U.S. Africa Command, AFRICOM, when it says, at the direction of the President of the United States and the Secretary of War, and in coordination with Nigerian authorities, U.S. Africa Command conducted strikes against ISIS terrorists in Nigeria on December 25, 2025 in Sokoto State. And so what you see here basically is the fact that it wasn't just something that the President of the United States decided to do and you think, have anything to do with Nigeria's impute. He just did it, regardless of our sovereignty. That's not what happened. Contrary to what some people have been putting out there, it was in coordination with Nigerian authorities. It's under news from Pete Exeth. It says the president was clear last month the killing of innocent Christians in Nigeria and elsewhere must end. The Department of War is always ready, so ISIS found out tonight on Christmas. More to come. Grateful for Nigerian government support and cooperation. Merry Christmas. So this clearly shows that it wasn't just something that the American government did without the support or cooperation of the Nigerian government, and this means a lot to me personally and to any right thinking Nigerian. The reason, of course, is that when this whole thing started a while back, when people were talking about the fact that America was going to get into Nigeria and just do something about the Christian genocide and so on and so forth, one of the things that I, for instance, have actually spoken about is the fact that Nigeria needs all the help it can get. We need America to help. We need any country that can help, right, to flush these people out. But we don't want them invading Nigeria as though we don't have a government. We need them partnering with the government. They shouldn't come and say, we want to come and support your Christians, your people. We're just going to go everywhere and invade everywhere. No, support the government to deal with the terrorists in Nigeria and flush them out and destroy them. Whatever you have to do, help us. But the idea that, don't worry, let them just come and do whatever they want. forget patriotism. You have to be daft to actually think that when a country comes in that way, they are doing it for your benefit. They definitely have something they're trying to get, and most likely is not something you think they want. That's why those who are celebrating the quote-unquote invasion of Nigeria somehow are sad right now, even though they should be happy if they really are concerned about Nigeria. Because what's happening right now is that the terrorists are being killed, as they should be killed. They're being killed, and you would expect every person to be like, okay, good, this is nice. Apparently people are now saying, oh, that's not what they thought was going to happen. They're already mapping where the American base would be, and how it would be in Port Harcourt, and then invade some parts of Nigeria, to feel Biafra. But thankfully, it turned for Jussi Onogbabe. But we're glad that we got this help from the United States of America. I just have a few more things to read on this matter, but before I go on with it, there was an interview on Channel TV with the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Tuga, and they asked a very important question: if this is going to be an ongoing operation, if we're going to see more strikes like this going forward. I'd like to take a listen to what the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Tuga, had to say on Channels TV. All right, take a listen, please.
Some people would want to find out, is this an ongoing operation? Are we going to be seeing more strikes like this one?
Well, I believe, like I said, it's an ongoing thing. And we're working with the U.S., we're working with other countries as well. So for all those that are prepared to work with us to combat terrorism, to ensure security in our region, in Nigeria itself, we're ready to cooperate. We're ready to collaborate. So this is something that has remained the same. Put it this way, you can call it a new phase of an old conflict. For us, it's something that's been ongoing. So we focus on that.
I think that's beautiful. If it's going to be an ongoing operation, as long as it flushes out those people and they are working with the Nigerian government, I'm all for it. What I don't want is people coming in as though Nigeria has no government. So if this is what is going to help us, then so be it. So that was the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Tuga. And by the way, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs released, they put out a press release on this matter a few hours ago. Nigeria-United States security cooperation and intelligence collaboration hits at terrorist targets in Nigeria. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Federal Republic of Nigeria confirms that Nigerian authorities remain engaged in structured security cooperation with international partners, including the United States of America, in addressing the persistent threat of terrorism and violent extremism. This has led to precision hits on terror. In line with established international practice and bilateral understandings, this cooperation includes the exchange of intelligence, strategic coordination, and other forms of support consistent with international law, mutual respect for sovereignty, and shared commitments to regional and global security. Nigeria reiterates that all counterterrorism efforts are guided by the primacy of protecting civilian lives, safeguarding national unity, and upholding the rights and dignity of all citizens, irrespective of faith or ethnicity. Terrorist violence in any form, whether directed at Christians, Muslims, or other communities, remain an affront to Nigeria's values and to international peace and security. The federal government continues to work closely with its partners through established diplomatic and security channels to weaken terrorist networks and logistics and prevent cross-border threats while strengthening Nigeria's own security institutions and intelligence capabilities. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs will continue to engage relevant partners and keep the public informed through appropriate official channels. That's from the spokesperson, Ministry of Affairs, Kimebi Imomotimi Ebiemfa. All right, so for me, it's all good news. That was a very good day to celebrate Christmas, and for those who are still disturbing Nigeria, more of them should die. Hit by American forces and Nigerian forces at the same time. By the time we are done, everybody will know waiting to hit them for body. Still on this matter, this is from AFRICOM. I mentioned the group earlier. What's the full clinical? United States. Let me look for there's the title somewhere here. I'll find it though. Okay, found it. U.S. Africa Command confirms airstrike on ISIS camps in Sokoto State, Nigeria. U.S. Africa Command, AFRICOM, conducted a targeted airstrike against ISIS terrorist camps in Sokoto State, northwestern Nigeria. The operation was carried out at the direction of the President of the United States and the Secretary of War and in close coordination with Nigerian authorities. General Dagvin Anderson, commander of U.S. Africa, excuse me please, there's somebody just, excuse me please. General Dagvin Anderson, commander of U.S. Africa Command, stated, quote, U.S. Africa Command is working with Nigerian and regional partners to increase counterterrorism cooperation efforts related to ongoing violence and threats against innocent lives. Our goal is to protect Americans and to disrupt violent extremist organizations wherever they are. AFRICOM emphasized that the U.S. military takes extensive measures to prevent civilian casualties and will continue to assess the results of the strike. All right, so that's good news, right? But here's the crazy part. There are people who are now saying that, you know, this thing somehow makes them feel uncomfortable. They don't think that's how things should be done. This time, from the north, you have, by the way, Pete Exeth, whose tweet I read earlier, is the Secretary of War with the Department of War, United States of America. All right. So you have people who are saying things like, "Oh, you know, excuse me, they just kill people and all of those things." You know, ọ̀rọ̀ ayé yìí ìlú gangan ni. Ntó kọjú sẹ́lòmíì, ẹ̀yìn ló ntó kọjú séèyàn, ẹ̀yìn ló kọ sẹ́lòmíì. So someone put out, someone started asking questions like, there are no terrorists in Sokoto State. Like, what do you mean they are killing people in Sokoto State? There is no terrorists in Sokoto State. So I found this report. It says, disturbing, Lakurawa terrorists offer financial incentives to recruit youths in Sokoto. That's from Zagazola. Was even last year. Apparently, there's an extremist group identified as Lakurawa that was offering 1 million naira to young men even back then in exchange for their allegiance. So people were saying that apparently over time, whenever soldiers hit, people will complain that Nigerian fishermen have been killed. And it's quite nice that somebody actually took the effort to put out news reports on this issue of fishermen over the years, right? 2021, 2022, 2024, and even in 2025 is the same complaint from certain people. I'll read some of the headline here. The Guardian, 28 September 2021, says Nigeria airstrike kills 20 fishermen sources. If you go to 2024, Barons, the report is called Barons, by Agence France Press. October 31, 2024, Chad's army accused of killing scores of fishermen in Nigeria. Chad's military has been accused of killing scores of fishermen in Nigeria while targeting jihadists days after 40 died in a Boko Haram attack on a military base in Chad. Fishermen and anti-jihadist militia told AFP on Thursday. And then last year, 2024, fishermen on Lake Chad after Nigeria airstrike kills 20. At least 20 fishermen were killed. So it looks like every time something happens in that particular part, people say, oh, fishermen were killed. And you begin to wonder whether the fishermen are actually fishing for fish or for men in a negative way, right? It looks like there are certain people who, you know, have just been putting some very, very funny things out. And lastly, I'd like to read something from one of these papers. It's actually from Punch. It's from Punch. 1 second, please. Just this year, this September 15, 2025, there's a news report in the Punch newspaper. Rep donates relief materials to bandit attack victims in Sokoto. The member representing Kebe Tambuwa Federal Constituency, Abdulsamad Dasuki, PDP Sokoto, has commiserated with constituents affected by recent bandits' attack in Kuchi and Jabo districts of Sokoto State. Dasuki, who visited the victims on Monday at the internally displaced persons camp in Kuchi, Kebe local government area, and Jabo Tambuwal LGA, provided immediate relief materials, including assorted food items and other essentials. I'll jump to where I'm actually going, because when people say that there are not people like that in Sokoto, it says here the member representing Kebe Tambuwa Federal Constituency, Abdulsamad, has commiserated with his constituents affected by recent bandit attacks in Kuchi and Jabo districts of Sokoto State. So clearly, people living in Sokoto State have been attacked a number of times by bandits, right? So if they have a base, if they're attacking there, most likely they will have a base somewhere there. And if it's been happening over and over again, and you then hear that they've been neutralized now, I don't know how a Nigerian who says he likes the country will be complaining about the fact that they went to Sokoto. Why didn't they go to another place? Maybe you should join the army, and then you should look for RPG and go and do what you want, what you think should be done in Sambisa, because I don't know the kind of minds that Nigerians have. Some people, I was talking to my brother yesterday, I mean, Christmas and all, we're having a great time. So I said, one of the things I've noticed in conversations generally, that there are people who are contrarian by nature. They don't have to be right or wrong. They just want to prove to you that you are not right, even if you are correct. They know you are correct, though. They know that you are correct, but they want to talk and make you look like a fool just to be able to prove that they also have something to say, even though what they want to say doesn't make any sense. There's no way any sane person will be going against the government or going against what's happening right now. Shebi, we said we wanted help. Now, at least the government of Nigeria is involved, so we should be happy and we should celebrate this rather than the way people are going about complaining, which is actually quite crazy, to be honest, because I don't understand why anybody will be angry with that. But that thing of 20 fishermen, the fact that you're always having 20 fishermen, at least in those 3 reports, you've seen 20 fishermen in two reports, 2021, 2024, and then 40 fishermen in 2022. Those fishermen, I don't think they're also fishing for fish. Maybe they're fishing something else. So it tells you that, I mean, there's a lot that, you know, it also looks like some people don't mind these things happening. It looks like some people don't mind it happening, and it calls for concern, but we're glad that this is happening, and we hope that people in Sokoto State and in other parts of the north and everywhere in Nigeria, to be honest, everywhere will be secure, and there will be no fears. You know, people will be able to get back to their homes instead of living in IDP camps. They'll be able to get back to farming and go back to the farms and get to their work rather than being disturbed by terrorists. This is something that we should be happy about as Nigerians. We hope that this happens, especially as we enter a new year. All right, let's move on to other news items. Please give me a second. Let me just set this stuff. 1 second, please. Math Vision on TikTok says fishing for souls. No. Yeah, fishing for human lives. That one is not souls. And may God have mercy on them. May God have mercy on them. Crowd says Sokoto is the most. Let me even talk about it. Somebody said, oh, but Sokoto is the seat of the caliphate. They are attacking the seat of the caliphate. And I was like, you're a Muslim, you're nothing. Somebody is bombing your home. Somebody comes along to help and disarm that person or destroy that person even. And the only thing you're saying is the fact that, but that's the seat of the caliphate. How does that make sense? I don't want to read the person's name because it's going to take us into another rabbit hole. But how is that disrespect towards the seat of the caliphate? I would think that the caliphate would be happy. And I think he's happy, by the way, because they also are not supporting terrorists from the things coming out from, high stuff, or just want to be contrarian for whatever reason. And Kraft says, was Nnamdi Kanu safe from the strike? Oroyo Lisi. How did you get to Jesus is Lord? Nigerians are something else. So, how did you get to Nnamdi Kanu on this matter? It is well. On YouTube, good evening, everybody. Merry Christmas, Mr. Desojo Lumide, Akadol. Oh, you said we missed you yesterday. Yeah, sorry. Yesterday I just had to not come online, but thank you very much and glad. Most of these news items are about the strike yesterday, so I have to find a way to. Good. Akodo. All right, let's leave Sokoto for a second. Let's leave Sokoto and discuss the law that will go into effect January 1, 2026. That's a tax law. Today we're not going into the nitty-gritty of the law itself like we did the last time, but I think we're going to do it again on Monday. We're going to play another video from experts trying to explain what that law is all about in order to prepare us for what's about to happen. Right, want to be informed, want to know exactly what we're supposed to do, right, before that happens. Okay, so that will be next time. That will be on Monday. But for today, I want to read something from the cable. Okay, I find this quite interesting. I don't know how. Some people are not beating this allegation, and it's sad. This from the cable. Ndume asks Tinubu to suspend tax laws. Ndume asks Tinubu to suspend tax law implementation over forgery claims. Ali Ndume, former Senate leader and lawmaker representing Borno South, has urged President Bola Tinubu to halt the implementation of the new tax laws on January 1, 2026 over forgery claims. On December 17, Abdulsamad Dasuki, a member of the House of Representatives from Sokoto, claimed that the gazetted tax laws are different from the version passed by the National Assembly. In response, the House of Representatives constituted a 7-man committee to investigate the alleged discrepancies. In a statement on Wednesday, Ndume urged Tinubu to constitute an ad hoc committee to investigate the veracity of the alleged alterations. He said proceeding with implementation without resolving the forgery claims would create a legitimacy challenge for the tax laws. With the controversy surrounding it, the president should constitute a team to verify the veracity of the claim and act accordingly, he said. This sounds like a very good thing, Abi, but somehow, some way, somehow, I don't think it's the right thing to do. I think people don't even want this tax law to be implemented. I think a lot of people have been going against it, and I don't. If there are discrepancies and you have a committee, why not charge the committee with the duty of, finding whatever issue it is and then solving it before the end of, today is 26th, are they still working? If they are committee, are they still working? I don't know if they are on holiday, I don't know that. But I think here's my own issue. People look for anything to stall that. And they've been throwing all kinds of things, all kinds of spanners in the wheel of progress. But let me just say this: this is what concerns us as Nigerians. Let's study this thing together. Let's learn about it. They might postpone it. Okay, if they don't postpone it, at least we'll be ready. Okay, so please, wherever you find, and please be careful of anybody just teaching you about the law. I said the other day I read something about the tax law and I thought I knew it, and then I listened to some people on social media and I got confused. Then I had to go back and listen to different stuff from Tawe Dele and also get the documents he was talking about, and then I think I'm a bit more informed, but that doesn't mean we even know everything yet. We still have to keep studying, so please be ready just in case they don't change their mind. Okay, but the truth of the matter is this: a lot of people are saying it, that it looks like some people have been paid in Nigeria to tweet and create content against the tax law in order to incite the public, right, to fight back, maybe even protest or whatever. And here's the crazy part: this tax law actually favors the generality of Nigerians. I mean, the so-called masses. This tax law actually favors them. So you have people who are fighting the government for doing something for them, because certain people who are actually supposed to be bearing the quote-unquote brunt or whatever tax is coming are telling them what to do. For instance, if you don't make, I mean, yeah, they're not going to have withholding tax. If you, let's say you work for a particular company, maybe you do contract or whatever, or you offer services, and instead of them removing that tax before paying you at source, they won't have to do that anymore because it's up to 100 million naira. And here's the question: for those who are shouting that they're angry and they're fighting, the question you should be asking them is this: how many of them make up to 100 million naira as a company? Then you talked about the individual stuff. If you don't make up to 800,000 naira, you're not taxed at all. If you make a bit more than that, you know, there are different categories. Again, I'm not a tax expert, but we listen to it together. I will do it again some other time. But the point I'm trying to make is that people should actually spend time to study what the law itself says, listen to the professionals who are talking to you about the law, rather than some clown who just talks on social media and says everybody, they're going to dip there. Think about it. They're going to put their hands in your bank account and remove your money because of tax. And Nigerians believe it. Why would you believe something like that? That somebody can just go to your bank account and remove money? You can't find anything like that in the tax laws. The government is not planning to do that, but Nigerians believe it. Who would dip their money in your account? And by the way, they've talked about it. It's going to be based on self-evaluation. You are the one who says, this is how much I made, this is how much was spent on this, this, and this in order to do what I've done. This is the profit, and the profit is what's going to be taxed. How do government know how much I made? They don't. You do. So, for instance, there's going to be, and please, we're all learning together. Please go on fiscal reforms, fiscalreforms.ng. Global, our Telegram channel. Yes, fiscalreforms.ng. Fiscal, FISCAL, reforms.ng. Please go there and you can download the document, right, on these tax laws. You also discover that they said even the tax concept now once a year. It's like in the UK now, it's once a year, like especially for if you are, let's say you're a contract staff or you have a business. The idea basically is not contract staff, you are a contractor. You get the point, yeah. The idea basically is that there's a calculator on the website. You insert how much you made, you insert this and that, all the details you have to insert will be there. The government does not know how much you make until you tell them how much you make. And if money comes to you as a gift, it's not taxable. It's not tax deductible. You know, all those things, those basic things. I just think we should spend some time to understand these things. People who don't make up to the money that they're talking about, you are angry that they're going to collect money from the people who make more money than you. And people that make more money than you are not talking, but you are the one who is talking. You are not making up to 100 million. Your business is not making up to 25 million naira. You are not making up to 2 million naira per month. That's 24 million at the end of the year. The people that should be angry are not even angry. And that's why I'm suspecting that the people that should be angry are the ones who are inciting the common people to be angry so that they can go and fori fagmo. And you say that don't fori fagmo koni jembe. English. They are pushing you to do what they wouldn't do on their own because, of course, you are an easy prey. I think we should be wiser. Just study this channel, Radio Me Global. You find the video, and I'm going to put out a video also later today on TikTok and YouTube, featuring the analysis by Taiwo Yedele, the chairman of the Tax Reform and Fiscal Policy Committee. So please, let's study as much as possible. Don't. The only thing, like I should even say this because it's important. The only thing that I understand, that I think is a very valid argument, is where is the tax going? when people question that, sincerely, I think it's a very, very important question. Where is the tax going? If I'm paying this tax, what's it going to do for me? Everybody has the right to ask that question. What will happen based on that? Not that, and it's important to ask that question, right? And they're saying now that one should be able to question those things. The National Assembly is working on the law. Whether they work on the law or not, you should be able to question them and say, where is my tax? And how many of us really pay taxes in Nigeria, to be honest? I mean, we pay VAT, 7.5%. By the way, somebody was in Ghana recently, tweeted something on X yesterday, was in Ghana. I don't know if I ordered food, went to a restaurant. Guys, they are collecting COVID levy. And the VAT in Ghana is 15%. 15% VAT, COVID levy, table service charge. How I go chop for a restaurant and they tell me make I pay table service? Was I supposed to eat it on the floor? They put table. I don't know how much percent that was. Maybe 7.5 or something, or 10%, something like that. Then they put. I'll see if I can find that. So it's actually quite interesting. I was like, we've not even seen anything like this in Nigeria. Everybody is shouting that. What's not this guy? I can't remember his name, but I know that it was trending yesterday. Timbari Mafioni. I can't remember his name now, but Timbari Mafioni. You saw it on next to a hair. Table charge, I think about 10% or so. VAT 15%. COVID levy. COVID that ended. Okay, yes, that's his name. Thank you. COVID that ended 2020. Washing by levy in Ghana. Meanwhile, any small thing in this country, you hear some clowns saying that if you go to Ghana. Another thing is this: Nigerians think everywhere apart from Nigeria is El Dorado. I don't know who did us like this, but they did a good job destroying people's lives with this mindset, where you just assume that if it's outside the country, outside Nigeria, it must be better. So you hear people the other day saying they want to go to Burkina Faso because Traore, the new Messiah, lives there. It's ridiculous. People forget that Nigeria is one of the best places to live. To be honest, we have a lot of things that we still have to work on, but we don't even appreciate what we have, and I think that's the sad part. The same person who tweeted that thing yesterday in Ghana said 5 days ago we are supposed to be rejecting the tax bill, not addressing people how to adjust. The same person then goes to Ghana, gets hit with the bill, 15%. By the time the food serve, the money we're supposed to pay for the full bill don't pass waiting in chop. I'm just saying that I remember how I got here that we don't really pay taxes in Nigeria. Of course, we pay VAT on some things, but generally speaking, when people say things like taxpayers' money, for the most part, it's not like you're doing income tax or things like that. Most of us don't pay that. So if they're asking us to pay it right now, to be honest, it's going to make you feel somehow like nobody wants to pay taxes. I mean, unless we're lying to ourselves. But call this civic responsibility. You belong in a nation, a state, a family. There has to be something that you contribute to the development of that place. And then it now gives you the right to question the people. What are you using my money for? And they have to answer us. Where's that money going to? That's the kind of conversation we should be having, not this thing of saying, oh, we should not be paying taxes. And about 70% of us don't pay taxes in Nigeria, which is very, very high. Right? Fewer people to pay taxes in this country. So I think we should support the government, but we should also be, demanding accountability to know exactly what they're using. We're fighting the government on top of taxes. Meanwhile, you could. I'm going to bring people up very soon because today is Friday, so we're going to be answering some questions. Just to read a few more things before we go. I'm seeing the stuff that people sent to me on Oyo and Ife. It's quite interesting. Well, no, not yet. Okay. This is actually a good time to mention something. There was an interaction on X yesterday, and I saw it. Of course, I didn't comment because if it's on my page, I rarely would. But I think what came out of it is something to be shared. So somebody said, we are almost in 2026, and this is still how the most populated, most economically advanced city in Nigeria control price and transport people like sardines in a can. So what happened really was that a few days ago, some buses were taking people from a point to another point within Lagos and charging 500 naira, right? The petrol price has already gone down. Fuel is cheaper, but they're increasing the money because of what do. So NURTW guys went on the road and started telling passengers it's 200 naira and things like that. So somebody is trying to critique that and says we're almost in 2026, and this is still how the most populated, most economically advanced city in Nigeria control price and transport people like sardines in a can. And then goes on to say how human beings with brains will control prices. Just went on and said all kinds of things that they wanted to say. So somebody responded with, quote unquote, from what she said, Lagos should have gradually phased out individual ownership of rickety buses over 10 years, 1999 to 2009. So the person says, I agree, but you and your people did this. And by you and your people, it was talking about the fact that the person who is Igbo, and it was referring to the burning of BRT buses in 2020. All of those things could take coming. Although we should, our transport system should be a lot better than what it is right now. In Lagos, in Southwest generally, it can be a lot better than what we have right now, right? But a guy or a person who calls himself Brave responded to the Yoruba person who was calling somebody, who's talking about the burning of BRT buses. The person says, I am Yoruba and I have lived in Lagos all my life. I also participated in the NSAS protests. Enough of all these lies. We all know this was carried out by sponsored Lagos touts. It only shows how terrible it is to knowingly distort the truth and intentionally push false narratives. If this is what you are doing, then you truly need help. Now, when you read that, you will assume that the person who is talking knows what they're saying. But this person is an ignorant clown. And the men you people like this. The assumption that fairness means that, by the way, fairness based on your ignorance is not fairness, it's suicidal. Because you don't know what happened, you assume you know what happened, and anybody who has the guts to really say what happened is then called a bigot, a tribalist, or to say something that they need help. So because of all this drama, I want to read what really happened. Because I don't think a lot of us, people use it as. This is from PM News. Where should we start? Let's start with Premium Times, August 11, 2022. NSAS, court remands man for allegedly setting BRT bus terminal on fire. And Ikeja Magistrate Court on Thursday ordered the remand of, I'll take that again. And Ikeja Magistrate Court on Thursday ordered the remand of one Chinasa Michael, accused of setting fire to a BRT bus terminal at Oyingbo in Lagos during a protest in the year 2020 over alleged police abuses. The defendant, 21, who is unemployed and resides at number 21 Ilugbo Street, Apapa Road, Lagos, is being tried for conspiracy, arson, and causing the breach of peace. That same report, you'll find it in PM News. It says here, Chinasa sent to Kirikiri prison for burning Oyingbo Lagos BRT bus terminal. And Ikeja Magistrate Court on Thursday ordered the remand of Michael Chinasa, an indigene of Anambra, accused of setting fire to a BRT bus terminal at Oyingbo, BRT terminals at Oyingbo in Lagos during a protest in October 2020 over alleged police abuses. The defendant, 21, who is unemployed and resides at 21 Ilugbo Street, Apapa Road, Lagos is being tried for conspiracy, arson, and causing a breach of peace. The magistrate, Mrs. MC Ayinde, who refused to take the defendant's plea, ordered that he should be remanded in Kirikiri prison. Now, here's the point. That thing you hear that they said, and I'm not saying all Igbos agreed to destroy places, but Igbos were caught destroying that thing. And it's important to, it's not banter. Somebody's in prison for that thing. So as a Yoruba person, when you hear it and you want to form the tribalize, which is the pathway to suicide, by the way, anything the tribalize, I don't belong to anybody, I belong to everybody, is a lie. Especially as it relates to, unless you are Buhari and you're not the president, so I don't know what's wrong with you. When people say things like that, you may feel somehow because in your mind you are higher than, protecting your heritage. In your mind, you have to lose yourself in order to show that you're a true Nigerian. But that thing that people say is not mere rhetoric. It's not just banter. There's someone in prison because of that. His name is Michael Chinasa. You're saying go and burn down Lagos. So when people put two and two together and see the fact that BRT buses are burnt down, the forensic center was burnt down, and start talking about all these things, don't think that you can change that narrative by saying that they are bigots or they are ignorant. You are the one who happen to be ignorant, and you need to get some information. So all of us, let's get this information. While we don't say every Igbo person burned something down, the person who was caught burning things down was an Igbo man. The person who incited that violence on his Radio Biafra was an Igbo man. And to acknowledge that does not mean that you are a bigot. It is just what it is. Okay? So the only thing that concerns me is that even though it happened in 2020, and the person who was sent to prison was remanded in 2022, it's still history, right? And people are already changing and saying things like all of us did it. We did not all do it. And the clown here is sounding exactly like Adewale Ademoyega. Oh, we know what we did. We're all part of it. You don't even know what you were doing. You were protesting. They were burning things down. And in your mind, oh, all of us did it. If they take you to prison that time, you say, I did not burn down the buses. So what are you really saying? You were part of the protest. Doesn't mean that. And then he said, oh, they were sponsored. What happens to you when you want to pander and please different groups in Nigeria, or you join the obedient movement? And I was talking to my brother yesterday. I said, one of the things I've noticed about obedient movement is that one of the requirements of joining that group is that you have to check your brain at the door. The rule, there are exceptions, there are very few. There are exceptions. Everybody has to think the same way. You have to support nonsense, even though you know what you are doing makes no sense. Someone said, give us his full name. Go and read the Premium Times of 2022. I'm not giving you anything more than that. I told you Premium Times, August 11, 2022, and go and read, what's this one called? PM News, Chinasa, Michael Chinasa. Is that full name enough, or you want his mother's maiden name? Do you want his mother's maiden name? So give us his full name. What does that matter? The point is that while you're not saying every Igbo person something, also don't try and change the stuff and say we didn't all do anything. I was even wondering why they were protesting, to be honest. Because the whole thing was just a sham. If you're a young person and you're angry, don't worry, you grow up. They were protesting. The government engaged them and said, we'll do this, we'll do that, we'll do. That's the end of the protest. They then said, oh, come for the meeting. Who are we going to talk to? Say, we have no leader. That means you are dumb. We have no leader. Because if you have a leader, you can scatter this. That means you understand the concept of order and structure. We have no leader. We have no leader. Okay. So what do you really want? You give them these items. It's about police brutality. We're going to deal with it. Then you came and started adding things. By the following day, it was more than 40 demands, including LGBT and GBTL and SQI, anybody that had any grievance, put it on the list, from NSAS to all kinds of things. And they tell you, go home. Say, no, we are not going home. We are better than our father generation. You are messing up with the wrong generation. I was just looking at them. I called one of them the day in Abuja. I said, Lord only law. Say no. They said that if we hold a flag and the army come, they will not do anything. Okay. I remember going to a conference, I think it was in 2021, and Olisagbakoba was there. And he said he was talking to his children, and anybody who knows Olisagbakoba knows, like, when protest was protest, this was people who used to protest. And by the way, this thing that we do, everybody, I think every generation does this thing, right? But this present generation, they do it in an interesting way. The assumption that every generation before you is foolish. You are the one that God just bestowed one supernatural might to be wise. So on, God just gave it to you. Every other person that came before you, they were all stupid. We do this thing a lot. That's the beginning of failure. Yorubas have a saying, no matter what you think you know, there are things you don't know. He was talking to his daughters that, listen, you guys, the way you are doing this thing is not the way it should be done. He said at the conference, they told him, no, it's our time. He said as soon as they started seeing cooler of rice, he knew that thing was going to fail. They brought cooler of rice, they were having concerts. Don't worry. He said nobody has ever done it before. It's our generation. Your generation was one that was fighting military government. I mean, they tried, by the way, and they succeeded. They got the government to change things, but they didn't know when to stop. And that's because there was no leadership. And I heard a lot of them thinking it was something grand. Oh, we don't need any leader, because if we have a leader, they will corrupt the leader. But if you don't have any leader, you don't have direction. There's no direction. Everybody just doing. Everybody just a herd mentality. Nobody can say stop. It's enough. Let's go. Let's pause. No, just we no go grill. And it was not the NSAS protesters. Somebody was caught, and the person is in Kirikiri right now. His name again is Michael Chinasa. So it's important to remember that this is not made up. It happened, and it's not bigotry or whatever to say what happened. It happened, and may God have mercy on him, wherever he is. Hopefully, he would have repented, because prison has a way of making people repent. By now, hopefully. I mean, God is merciful. God will forgive him his sins, and gospel of Christ. Moving on, the cable. Confusion as Adichie counters UNN, denies being appointed visiting professor. Chimamanda Adichie has denied taking any visiting professorship role at the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, UNN. Earlier, the UNN had stated that it appointed the author alongside Kefi Orama of the African Development Bank as a visiting professor. It stated that the appointments were conveyed in separate letters dated December 18 and signed by the Vice Chancellor Simon Otuanya. An Adichie appointment, the university's acting PRO had added, would enrich teaching and scholarship in the arts and humanities through lectures, academic engagements, and mentorship of students and young scholars. But in the turn of events, Adichie has denied taking any such appointment or receiving any letter from the UNN dated December 18. Omaomi Ogbe, Adichie's media aide, stated on Wednesday that the acclaimed writer has dismissed the purported appointment as false. Quote, "It has come to our attention that several news outlets are reporting that Ms. Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie has been appointed as a visiting professor at the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, UNN, and we wish to state categorically that this information is entirely false," end of quote, Ogbe said. Ms. Adichie has not received any such appointment, nor has she been in communication with the university regarding a professorship. The reports claiming that official letters were signed and dated December 18, 2025 are inaccurate. We hope they saw that, because if she gets to teach at UNN, it will help, the young people in that school. So hopefully that is sorted. Should be a great addition to folks in that university, particularly the younger one. She wrote her first book, 2000. I was home. Yeah, I was home, and went to. She was in Ibadan to do a book reading. properly discuss. So I mean, it's good to have someone like this on the staff, at least. Moving away from Musuka, but still with the university environment, the federal government has reached an agreement with the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, which will see a 40% increase in the salaries of lecturers across the country. The new agreement concludes the renegotiation of the 2009 FGN ASU agreement. Key highlights of the agreement include 40% increase of academic staff, 40% salary increase for academic staff, improved pension benefits, professors to earn pension equivalent to their annual salary at retirement age 70, better university funding model with dedicated allocations for research, libraries, labs, equipment, and staff development, proposed National Research Council, NRC, to fund research with at least 1% of Nigeria's GDP, stronger university autonomy and academic freedom, elected academic leadership, deans, provosts with only professors eligible. Agreement takes effect from January 1, 2026 and will be reviewed after 3 years. No victimization of anyone involved in the struggle during the course of drafting the new agreement. ASU also called on the government to implement the agreement without delay and extend negotiations to other university unions to ensure stability in the system. Are you sure? Someone says the sound goes off. Hope it's better now, Sha. Oh, King Beja Nyamabinu. All right. So that's actually that's good news from ASU, and at least our children will not suffer what we suffered. Because, whether you stay at home for 1 year, I'm not sure. But that's that from us, and we're glad with that news. Moving on from education now, back to politics. 6 members of the Zamfara State House of Assembly have defected from ADPDP. 6 members of the Zamfara State House of Assembly have defected from PDP to the APC. The 6 members are Honorable Bashar Ali Gumi, Honorable Nasiru Abdullahi Maru, Barrister Bashir Abubakar Masama, Honorable Bashir Bello, Honorable Amiru Ahmed Keta, and Honorable Mukhtar Nasir Kaura. Oh boy, somebody said transfer window never close. But I say we are back in EPL in this Nigerian version. People are moving en masse and they're carrying broom in their hands as they change parties. I'm happy for APC, but I'm concerned that politicians in Nigeria can move from one party to another without having to even go through any form of orientation. In other words, there is no fundamental difference in terms of ideologies between parties or amongst the parties. They are essentially the same. They are just vehicles that you use in order to get into office. That's what it looks like. There's no ideological differences. There's nothing that makes one different from the other. You can just join and run the next minute. I think that's the only issue I have with all of these things. If they like, they should be moving from one party to another, but no ideology, which is not very good. But all the best to the politicians and congratulations to APC. We're wrapping up the news bit now. We're going to bring people up very soon. They'll get into the questions and answers. Well, the ones that have been sent to me before now. Something from Nairametrics. Jimo Ibrahim, the successes and controversies of a billionaire entrepreneur. Nah, let's not get into this now. But we know that he's leaving his Senate seat to become an ambassador. So people are asking the questions, which one is higher, senator or ambassador? I don't know which one it is, but maybe I know which one it is. He could decide what he wants, and all the best to him. Okay, I already read this thing about federal government and ASU. Let's move on from here. Ekiti State is the first state to domesticate the new tax administration law in Nigeria. Governor Bayomi Oyebanji signed the new Ekiti State Revenue Administration Bill yesterday. And here are the key changes. I mean, if you're interested, please let me know. I'll send you the link. The point is just that they have domesticated the new tax administration law. Going to move very fast. Breaking. Former Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, has alleged that the EFCC has refused to accept the ruling of the court, which granted him bail. Malami, who spoke through his media aide, said the commission chased away the bailiff and insisted on his continued detention, citing a high court order that expires today. But there's another news report. Let me quickly find that and read to you. They have released a list of houses owned by the same person. EFCC traces 41 properties worth 212 billion naira to Malami. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, this is from the cable, by the way. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has traced 41 properties to Abubakar Malami, the former Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice. The cable understands that the properties, hotels, residential buildings, lands, schools, and a printing press are scattered across Kebbi, Kano, and the Federal Capital Territory, FCT. The properties in Kebbi State are valued at 162,195,950,000 naira, while the assets in Kano State are said to be worth 16,11,800,000 naira, and the value of the FCT properties was put at 34,685 million naira. I see the list here. I mean, it's quite interesting. Rayan University, permanent site, temporary site, University third site, Vice Chancellor. I mean, if you make your own money and you be decent for yourself, no problem. But haba, needs of justice far. It is well. All right. This Oyo and if I think keeps popping up. I don't want to talk about it, at least not yet. Mumbo, I think we should just move on. There are some things here. For instance, there was a little buzz between the Commissioner of Environment in Lagos, Tokunbo Wahab, and some clown who was driving on the driving shy in Akwa Ibom State, says, I'm driving Akwa Ibom State, road they cry. I have not seen any bad road compared to Lagos. The lady says as she shows off the beautiful road network in Akwa Ibom State. So Tokunbo Wahab says, please stay back in Akwa Ibom so that the pressure on Lagos road can reduce. Thank you. And people have been saying, why did they say that? He's not the commissioner. He's absolutely right. I support him. I want to say tribalism will be the end of us. Instead of calling those in power to fix the roads, no. Stay at home. All of you come to Lagos, overstretch the facility, have no sense of civic duty, and then once in a year, the rest you go back to your hometowns and spend maybe 1 week and tell us how it's a lot better. If you had stayed back home, at least you would have been able to share the wala amongst the states. But no, you carry two left legs, travel to Lagos and be writing nonsense. So I like what the commissioner said, by the way. It's a very fantastic response. He's a Yoruba man. He understands how to use words. Stay at home. Don't bother returning so that the roads in Lagos can breathe. Let the roads breathe. Is that how the president said it? Let the road breathe. Oh boy. All right. I think there's one more thing I want to talk about. I'll talk about it later. But no, I'm trying to. I don't want to get into all this or your thing. Okpogon, people sent me a lot of stuff. The Alaafin in Ilorin. Marshall. But no, we're not talking about it yet. I'm saying it now because I'm seeing a lot of, that message. But it is well. When peace like a river attendeth my way, when sorrow. All right. I saw something from Novak Djokovic. we end this segment of this session. I'm going to bring people up in a bit. This might help somebody as we prepare for a new year. Novak Djokovic's discipline. I'm sure we all know Novak as a tennis player, world-class champion, world champion. So the question was, how much discipline? And I think we should all learn from this, okay? So let me just quickly read to you. In January 2012, I beat Nadal in the finals of the Australian Open. The match lasted 5 hours and 53 minutes, the longest match in Australian Open history, and the longest Grand Slam singles final in the Open era. Many commentators have called that match the single greatest tennis match of all time. After I won, I sat in the locker room in Melbourne. I wanted one thing, to taste chocolate. I hadn't tasted it since the summer of 2010. Millian brought me a candy bar. I broke off one tiny square, and popped it into my mouth. Let it melt on my tongue. That was all I would allow myself. That is what it has taken to get to number one. I think the lesson here really is just to try and deny ourselves, instant or immediate gratification as we get into the year 2026, and by the grace of God, we will hit our targets. Thank you very much for listening. I'll bring people up right now. Please, as soon as you get up, please mute, and then I'll call on you to speak one after the other. Thank you very much for being here. All right. We have some requests. Marlene, I've not seen you here before. All right, there's Unzogo. I can't remember hearing your voice before, but let's see. Okay. Good evening, Mark.
Good evening, sir.
Hello.
Good evening, hello to.
Ekwalel, good evening.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you too.
Ọdún Ayabo. Ojú yín ń dán.
I'm here,
You're not looking tired, looking fresh. Fresh like sliced bread.
We are trying.
I'll be get bread.
We are trying.
It's been a wonderful year, and we have to appreciate what we have, our culture, our heritage, and the descendant of Odudua. So we appreciate. Let's start with our first man of the country. We appreciate Asiwaju, President Tinubu. Kò sẹ́ni tó perfect, kò sẹ́ni tó mọ̀ tán.
Wait,
we have to celebrate what we have.
Sorry, Math Vision, 1 second. What music is playing in the background?
Yeah.
You have music playing in the background, Abi? No, I'm not saying you should stop. Don't stop. I want to know the music. No. It's jazz.
It's jazz. I have this jazz on YouTube.
Okay, please. When you are done, please.
I can get it for you.
Please. Yeah, just say the name. I just heard a bit of it just now. Yeah, please continue.
Baba, it's in sharp. Okay. Don't worry, I'll do that. No, everybody only gifted. So I want to appreciate God, our Father. I want to appreciate our President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He's been dealt a horrible hand, but he's been able to turn the lemon into lemonade. I want to, because these are what he's trying to do. These are ancient things in the context of the Nigerian, the nation called Nigeria. These are things that have been left dormant, idle, oti baje, oti ra, and is beginning to bring them back and build them the way they should be. I want to thank the Senate President who have agreed to work with him, because he could have decided to be a tough parliamentary and make his life difficult. They could have done that. I want to thank people like the Alaji Dangote, who have seen that Nigeria and the African continent as a whole, we need economic emancipation. Because like it or not, we have been under economic slavery for so long, and putting his money where his mouth is. We want to thank people like Taiwo Yedele, who even go against threat of his life about this new tax law, had to go into hiding with his family so that he can serve his own country. And there are many other people like that. And I want to thank people like yourself, who has taken it upon yourself to re-educate people of Oduduwa descendants, Amokale Ojiri, all over Yoruba land, all over the world, to help us regain a balanced understanding of who we are, how deep our history is, to appreciate our language, our culture, to celebrate our heroes, to help us to understand that Omo Yoruba ni wa before anything else. Boya o jẹ́ Mùsùlùmí, abo jẹ́ Kristẹni, abo jẹ́ Aborisha, whatever you are, first and foremost, according to the Yoruba concept, you are Yoruba first, and you should take pride in that. And because of this uniqueness that we have as a Yoruba nation, we have our culture, our language, our music, our clothing, and our food. And guess what? Because of this pride in this heritage, that's what most people now call Nigerian culture, which we know it's not Nigerian culture, it's from us. Whether it's the Jebu people dancing spirit, or the partying spirit, or the spraying of money to the one from Ile-Ife, and so on and so forth. It's all over. People embrace it all over Nigeria, and we thank God for that. We also thank our political leaders. They are not perfect, don't get me wrong. But nǹkan tí yóò bá nílẹ̀ yóò máa celebrate. Tó o bá celebrate nǹkan tó o bá ní, o máa lose eventually ni. And by recognizing what we have and celebrating it, we'll make improvement and we'll get better as a people. This tax law is an example. To be able to harmonize taxation and make life simple for a lot of Nigerian people is a good thing. Is it perfect? No. Has there been political ideology against it? Yes. Taiwo Yedele himself recognized that he never understood how massive Nigeria was, how big Nigeria was, how complex Nigeria was, until he was doing this tax law. And truth be told, ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ wa, I realized the space called Nigeria is a combination of UK, France, and Germany combined, geographically speaking. And look, can you imagine that? That's the space called Nigeria. It's massive. Of course, it's too complex, but it takes wisdom to thread that needle to move it forward. So I want to celebrate you, sir. And I want to rest my case at this point. Just to say thank you for being yourself. Thank you for sharing your talent with us. And I appreciate you, sir. And I believe the best is yet to come.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. I think for this particular submission, we should clap. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's good when people acknowledge what you're doing, and I'm really glad that you did that. We hope to do even more in the coming year. Thank you, Lori Eshoma. Ibo Jinadu, thank you for the gift. Worry247, thank you so much for the roses. Thanks everyone for your generosity. Yeah, we're looking forward to 2026. I'm up by 2026 because it was 2027. It's going to be a better year for us, like Barolong, and keep educating ourselves. And there's a lot to learn. You know, I think it was yesterday, I was in the library, looked up my shelves, and I saw so many books I have not read. I was like, boy, I've got to find time. So there's so much to learn. We've learned a lot, but we still have a lot more to learn. And hopefully with these conversations that we're having, we'll be able to do just that. So thank you very much for that submission. I see someone else in the comment section. Sorry, trying to come up. Okay, maybe the person just stepped out. I just read some things here. Someone says, Worry247 says, you're doing a great work for the Yoruba nation. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. All I'm going to read from YouTube. Anointed16 says, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you too. Bole Ganu, Merry Christmas, sir. Someone says, did Trump bomb Sokoto? No, Trump did not bomb Sokoto. American forces bombed terrorist hideouts in Sokoto. Thank you very much. Akador says, I think this will make people get interested in politics. Yes. There's a video that I saw earlier today on Facebook where someone was talking about the fact that the pushback that Yoruba people experience from those who are in obedience movement is going to make them actually not vote for, what's his name now? Peter Obi, you know, and people said, you know, saying all kind of things like normal they would. But yeah, it's going to make a lot of people get more interested in politics, especially with the outcome of the last election. So I voted for one of your own. It didn't win. Then you cursed me out and cursed my entire group. So naturally, I should begin to use my brain. If I'm also thinking like, it doesn't look like this person really cares about Nigeria, or just cares about the interests of his own ethnicity. So yeah, people are going to get more interested. So thank you very much for that submission. Akador says, I asked them, are you ready to take over government? They are not ready. Mimi Joseph says, Merry Christmas to you, and a Happy New Year to you as well. The Oyo and Ife thing is really getting out of hand, as many versions of Yoruba history are now online. Please talk about it soon. I will. Do you know why I don't like talking about Oyo matter? Is because so when I talk about, I talk about Oyo in history, right? So I'm talking about the history of Oyo. I talk about the history of Oyo because, like I said, nothing can erase the greatness of Oyo. The clowns who are trying to add to the greatness are the ones who are actually diminishing it. But I don't think it can be diminished unless, of course, I think I should add a caveat. Nothing can diminish the greatness of Oyo unless people try to add to it and make it what it wasn't in the name of trying to prop it up. That would diminish its greatness. So historically, there are things, right, and it's important to acknowledge on. It's a shame, in 2025, people are not acknowledging greatness, they are inventing greatness. That's a shame. But yeah, we'll talk about some of those things when the time comes. The reason I like talking about it a lot is because I don't want to seem like I'm, because it happens every time. I receive a lot of videos every time. I don't want to seem as if I'm upping on everything, because it will look like infighting. However, it's also important to set the record straight, not to fight, just to set the record straight. For instance, I heard one person, somebody sent me said the person is a historian, and anybody can give themselves titles as this. Excuse me. Says he's a historian, and it says that Alaafin is the Alaafin of Yoruba land, all of Yoruba land. And I said, and you call that person a historian? I says, yes. That's a joker. That's a joker. I remember we're reading about Yoruba land the other day. We'll read some of it today. Maybe it will lead us into that conversation. So there are a number of things that we have to do. We have to read that Yoruba stuff, talk about the Alaafin stuff, and also respond to Dr. Tola Adeniyi, who said some things about Igbo land and stuff. I just think as Yoruba people, let's celebrate greatness. Let's celebrate greatness. Let's acknowledge what great things we've done, and let's be inspired by history to do better than what was done in the past, and also to learn not to make the same mistakes of our forebears. That we should do. What we should not do is to rewrite history in order to prop up certain people. And let me say something. I say it a lot, I'll say it again. If you as a Yoruba person, I don't care what town you are from, what city, what local village, whatever. If you as a Yoruba person want to tell your story or the history of your people, and you begin with the British colonization, you are not thinking straight. There's something fundamentally wrong with your thinking process or with your thought process. You cannot start Yoruba's history in the 1800s. You can't. We are an ancient people, and we don't drop our civilization because of British came. So we're going to go with what British said. Meanwhile, what British said, that I'm Ife. So there's no two ways about it. I'm an Ife man. I'm from the royal family of Ife. So people say, oh, you are from Ife, you will not be objective. It's because you're not thinking straight. Where you are from is not what determines objectivity. I'm from Ife. What the British said about Ife is documented. But I don't think you need that to determine the greatness of Ife. That's the point I'm trying to make. What the British said about Ife is documented. What they did, what happened in 1903 when the Oni first left the palace, the first time an Oni ever left Ife was in 1903. What happened to the Alafin when that thing happened? What did he do? What did King's Yoruba land do when the Oni left his palace? What did the British representative, what did they do? How was it taken to to Lagos? What happened? When you study all these things, right, you appreciate it. But the truth is that the legitimacy of the Oni is not predicated on what happened in 1903, even though what happened in 1903 also adds to who he is. But the point is that that seat is an ancient seat. It's very old. So I can't start the history in the 18th century or the 19th century, 19th century or the 20th century, when there's over 1,000 years history of Yoruba land. So I hear this nonsense about, when Oyinbo came, the Queen made somebody Kinikan. The Queen did not make anybody anything. And the treaty they signed, and let's give God praise, this our generation, there's hardly any book that they talk about that is not available in public, because if only a certain group of people have access to these treaties, we are done for. Anybody can just change history and say, see, this is what they said. But thank God the document is available, everybody has access to it, so we know exactly what happened. And we respect all kings, but no, we don't. Number one, we don't allow disrespect to the Oni. I don't care who you are. I don't bloody care I don't care who you are. You are not going to disrespect Oni. I don't care who you are. And it's not because I'm from Ife, it's because I'm Yoruba. And if you're a Yoruba person, you will think that way as well. If anybody disrespects your source and you celebrate it, you are dead. Physically, you will be alive, but everything that makes you is dead. I want to say something. I want to sound a note of warning. You know, when you read about Yoruba civilization and our myth and our identity, when people begin to speak against Ife and say things like, I saw something on social media today and I was shocked. I wasn't angry. I was shocked. Young Yoruba people saying things about Kabesi and saying things and typing things in the comment sections across different social media platforms. I was like, there's no fear. I mean, on all sides, but particularly directing at Oni, there's no fear. Forget, when I mean fear, I'm not saying fear of something will happen to you, but reverence. There's no Kosio war. And the reason they are doing that is because the people they look up to are disrespecting somebody, so they're also disrespecting. But let me tell you what usually happens. Once you do that, the kings who do that to the Oni, right? And whose followers do that to the Oni? What they don't know is that that king himself has become Alawa de Die. What is Awadumodi? You know, all the king needs to do is what my father used to tell me to do when I was a lot younger. My father would say, Wenye, oh, Wenye. Let's say we're talking about something and maybe I'm not getting the point. This was, especially when I was in high school, my dad would say, Wenye. And what it means is that there are people coming from behind and they see what you are doing. You'll be so, one, they won't disrespect you. They will drag you on the floor. They will drag your honor, your title, your crown, your person, everything about you will be dragged. That's why even when you don't agree, when you disagree with elders, there's a way you say it. Even from a selfish perspective, if you dishonor them, you are planting a seed of dishonor for yourself. So all this nonsense that people are doing, and then some people, I don't know, you Koti Kadun, the only time you hear news from some places is of supremacy. On top of what? Nothing. There's nothing. There's nothing. There was something, but there is nothing. So you fight everybody based on what was. I know the crazy part. Before your own was, some others were. But your own history doesn't begin with what has happened before you suddenly woke up in the middle of the night. So when you woke up, or maybe you woke up at 12 noon, when you woke up, that's your morning, praise God. But now that you are awake, as far as you are concerned, everybody also woke up at 12 noon. People have been working since Idaji. Civilizations have been built. Empires have risen and fallen. You just came around. You just woke up. That was it. It's 6 p.m. already. You are celebrating what happened in the afternoon. It doesn't make. I don't know what people actually get from this. It reeks of inferiority complex. You're trying to tell everybody that lived before 12 noon that what you did between 12 and 2 is what determines what's happening right now at 6 p.m. Even though what they did before you was even greater than what you did. But guess what? They're not even telling you that they're greater than you. They only tell you that there's a stroke, there's an order. And just because you woke up at that point doesn't mean that you are the father of all. You are the father of your own children. And I think at some point the governors will have to maybe call some, I don't know. Olubadan had to speak last week now. Olubadan said is Olubadan of Ibadan. He said his territory, his jurisdiction is Ibadan. He was not talking about himself. He was talking to somebody. When he said his jurisdiction was Ibadan, don't go beyond your bounds. That's what he was saying. And thankfully, the chairmanship of the chiefs in the committee, the chiefs committee in Oyo State, is rotating. It's rotational now. You know what? Let me play you something. I've not played it here before. I don't know if I'll quickly find it. I always say quickly because I always think of what I used to save it. Mumbo, I'll see if I can find you something. Give me a second. You know, before now, there was a permanent chairman. So there was a permanent chairman of House of Chiefs from the 1940s or 50s all the way to the end of the First Republic. And then when Western region was broken, the man was still the person was still the permanent chief of Western states, even when Lagos was excised out of it and Midwest was taken out of it. Then when the states were created in 76, where you had Oyo State, and Oyo State, Ogun State, and Ondo State, the same king became the permanent chairman of the kings in Oyo State. Excuse me. And then there was Osun State in 1991. And then the same king I'm talking about is the Oni. The Oni has been the permanent king of all the kings in Western region, in Western states, in Oyo State. But before they created Osun State in 91, something actually happened in Oyo State. I'll see if I can find you that video. I found it, but I have to find the particular place. I think it's this one. I want you to listen to something that happened. So the king, who was the permanent chairman in Western region, Western state, Oyo State, up until 1980, was Obadeso Jaderemi, because he reigned from 1930 to 1980, was there for 50 years. In 1980, we had a new king, Oba Okwadesijuade, who reigned until 2015. Now, it was when he became king that this whole thing started happening. And let me make something very clear. I said it the other day, I'll say it again. Never in Yoruba history have we had a situation where an Alaafin would do what... Excuse me, please. We're going to have to switch the light. So just give me a second. Give us a second. They're going to switch. Just give me a second. Someone says Oni of Ife is over all kings across Yoruba land, over our land. Just give me a second. It might go off for a bit, but I'll be back. Please hold on.